In this video, guys, we are going to look at using your trading skills that you've developed over time in real life and why that's so important in the current environment. Stick around. Hey guys, warm welcome to you. Alright, so I know that many of you have been following the channel for a long period of time and I've had great comments and hope that lots of stuff has helped you. And one of the things that I like to focus on in my own trading, which has really helped me get really in tune with the current conditions. Yes, there's been hiccups. Yes, there's been stumbling blocks, but being able to dial in and really taking advantage of this as volatility has come from the work that gets put in before all this happens. And I know that many traders have kind of said exactly the same thing. It's like, hey, the work that's been done under normal conditions now really starts to bear fruit when things are really going crazy and there's opportunity everywhere, and also extreme risk as well. But one thing I want to talk about in this video, guys, is we kind of forget this, is that in real life, some of the skill sets that we develop in trading really do help us when we have, well, specifically the moment when we're kind of in this mode where there's a lot of fear going on with the general public. There's a lot of media kind of blasting us with scare stories, and obviously lots of people as well, friends and family, are concerned about this. And of course, as traders, we don't know what's going to happen. We've obviously got the markets on one hand, and we're trying to make money in the markets there, and on the other hand, we don't know what's going to happen in terms of friends, family. If you've got other businesses or other work, you don't know what's going to happen. So listen, these things are well worth working on consistently, persistently, not only to make more money in your trading, but also to help you kind of navigate things and bits and pieces in life as well. In my opinion, these attributes and skill sets really do help. So the first thing, guys, is being calm under pressure. There's a lot of pressure on a lot of people right now with the coronavirus. I'm filming this mid-March, end of March. A lot of stuff going on, a lot of news flow, a lot of knee-jerk reactions from governments and people, and understandably so. There's a lot of unknowns and people don't know how to respond to it. But as traders, this is kind of what we have all the time, right? We have the pressure of, you're in a position, you're out of position, something's going on, and you have to remain focused on the job in hand. You can't be looking one place to the other and running around like a headless chicken, because you'll never ever do anything. Now, it's not to say you won't always make the right decision. Like, you're never going to say you're going to make the right decision every time, but being calm with a decision and understanding how you come about that decision is very beneficial. The other thing is decisions that involve risk. As traders, obviously, there's a lot on the line. We've got a lot of capital on the line. There's a lot of financial risk. There's also, the emotional risk that if we get it wrong, if we get multiple trades wrong, is that going to affect how we decision make? And so, as we're in this current environment, there's a lot of decisions that potentially involve risk. Are you going to go to this venue? I'm not suggesting that you go to a concert or something, but let's say, are you going to go to the supermarket at a certain time? Are you going to say, well, maybe I can have some outdoor exercise, or whatever the government guidelines are saying and all this kind of stuff? There's a risk of potentially, something not going as you want it to go, but then there's the payoff of the advantage of maybe getting food for your family, or maybe doing some exercise and keeping your mental health stuff. You get the point. The idea is there's a lot of risk in trading, and understanding the risk-reward ratio. People kind of joke at me a little bit when I say, when I'm out and about, I'm saying, what's the risk-reward of doing this and that? Because generally as traders, that's how we think. We're like, well, risk-reward ratio of me, buying this or doing that or whatever it may be. We kind of think in terms of, what's the upside versus what's the risk. And maybe, when we're talking about the coronavirus, you're thinking, okay, well, the risk of being in a confined space inadvertently with a lot of people might not be worth the reward of being able to get a couple of chickens for dinner, whatever it is, or maybe it is because you haven't got any. You get the point. The idea is a risk reward is something that we think about all the time. The other thing, guys, is management of emotions. There's a lot of emotions, even though as traders, I think we're generally much more controlled with the emotions. We're much more pragmatic about things that are happening, and much more positive about things that are happening, and much more aware of our emotions. We're still obviously being pressured by everything that's going on, it would be incorrect, I think, for anyone to say they're not thinking about the current conditions, they're not concerned about the outcome, or they're not concerned about how the media is portraying it, or, you know, even though we're generally a positive bunch and we're kind of been moving ahead with our trading and you're moving forward and doing all the right things and keeping on the right track, because you need to have a reasonable positive mindset to kind of progress in trading. You know, we are still being impacted by emotions when we're hearing news stories or reading articles or seeing what's going on around the world. So being able to manage those and control those, again, I don't like using the word control as much, but being able to be aware of them is definitely helping, and saying, you know, hey, this kind of news flow is making me feel bad about what's happening, and yes, it's happening, can't control it, let's have a look at something else. And that's the kind of thing that you perhaps you do in trading. You recognize that 4 or 5 losing trades in a row makes you feel not great about your trading, so you take a break, you step back, you reset, you come back in, and you hit it again. Filter out noise, big one this, guys, big one. Trading, we've got all this noise coming in, haven't we? News flow, prices changing, people's opinions, etc. It is magnified by a million almost with the coronavirus, because everyone's got an opinion, everyone thinks it's the worst thing, we're all going to die, versus no one cares. And you've got everyone in the middle. So you've got someone who thinks it's completely nothing, and you've got someone who thinks the world is going to end. And then we are probably somewhere in the middle is about the right answer. And people, generally, their personality tend to err on one side or the other. And then we're hearing all of their opinions. We're hearing it on the news, hearing the talking heads on news, between the newspapers, the guys who've got to sell the newspapers, all this stuff. And we've just got to filter out the facts and try and make the right decisions for the best outcome. So in trading, the best outcome is for us to make as much profit as possible, or to protect the capital, and some point in between. If we're talking about the virus situation, the best outcome is we're protecting ourselves, our friends, our families, our neighbours, the community, the country, etc. So we're making decisions based on that, rather than irrational, potentially emotional decisions fueled by all the news and flow and all the information we've got coming in. So being able to filter out the noise is a very good one, and something to work on continually. And you're going to come out of this a better trader anyway. Even if you're not trading specifically, focus on what matters. You know, in trading, we're looking at what's useful to us at the time, whether we're scalping and it's a 1 minute chart, whether it's swing trading and this, whether it's, we're not bothered about what the interest rate's doing in Zimbabwe. We're not bothered about the price of gold when we're trading, you know, some tech stock that's completely irrelevant to gold. You get the point. We're focusing on what matters. Same in the current environment, focusing on what matters. It doesn't really matter what's happening in another country. That what will be with that. We just have to focus on our own area and do the best we can in the situation that we're in. All right, risk management. Same kind of thing. I talked about that, guys, decisions that involve risk. And the final thing is the ability to withstand pressure. A lot of pressure at the moment, no one knows. It's the unknown, I think, is what causing people to be more concerned than they would be when you have, I did a video actually, hopefully it's probably up now. If not, it's on its way, so make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff. I talked about, you know, the certainty, even if it's really bad news from a company perspective and from a market's perspective, that helps traders and it helps human beings as well, I believe. You know, when we have certainty, okay, this is what's going to happen. It might not be good, but then you can plan for it. Like if a company says, hey, this is what's going to happen this quarter, or this month, whatever it may be, and then there's our plan to get at it. Right, now we know how to value the company, now we know what the trade's going to be, etc. Same kind of thing if we're talking about the coronavirus and all the stuff that's going on. Once we start to realize where we could be and what the trajectory is, and then when the other side is, people will become much calmer about things. So our ability to withstand, you know, pressure as traders, I think as traders we're one of the people in society who can withstand a lot of pressure. It may not seem it. I mean, we're not the kind of pressure of a maybe an accident, an emergency surgeon, for example, which of course is a different kettle of fish completely, but into our own little world of pressure, financial pressure with trades going right or wrong and this kind of stuff. And yes, I don't want to compare things like that to trading, but you know, I know what it's like when you're sitting in front of those screens, you versus the market, you trading the market, you looking at your P&L, you looking at this, you looking at that. There is a lot of pressure on us. So being able to withstand that, being able to step up to the plate, being able to kind of push through these things and be mindful of how you're thinking about things and how you're approaching things and staying positive. All this kind of stuff is so important in the current environment, and it will help you when we go back to some normality, back in the trading seat. You're thinking about, hey, you know, this is some skill sets here that I have from trading I've used in that environment, and now I've improved with those and I'm bringing them back into trading. So they're well worth working on constantly, guys. Anyway, take care. See you next one. Bye bye.